Robin Lundberg Show. Want to let you know that Larry David is wrong about wrestling. That's the start. That's how we're getting into it here today. Hope everybody's doing well. We are live and direct here on the Robin Lundberg YouTube channel, across the other places that I'm live as well, which I think is Twitter, Facebook, all those spots. And Larry David, big fan. I'm a big fan of Larry David. The guy is an unbelievable comedic talent. An unbelievable comedic talent. He's a genius. He really is. He's a genius. Curb Your Enthusiasm is arguably the best show of all time. I mean, and Seinfeld is also arguably the best show of all time. So I'm not here to throw strays at Larry David or, clown Larry David or anything like that. I mean, he's on my, like, if you were listing off the people that I have the most respect for in the world, it's not that long a list before you get to Larry David, right? I mean, it's Hove, it's LeBron as a basketball player, it's Kevin Feige at Marvel, Stan Lee historically at Marvel. There was a time I would have said somebody who ran the WWE. I can't say that specifically anymore, but let's go with Triple H. There's up and down the line, like, the people that you're the biggest fans of course, right? And Larry David is in that group, in that conversation of the people that I'm one of the biggest fans of. Like, I'm a huge fan of Larry David. I don't know if there's a show that makes me laugh harder than Curb Your Enthusiasm makes me laugh. I mean, that is one of the best shows, if not the best show there is ever. There is ever. And Curb it's just an unbelievable program, unbelievable show. But Larry said some stuff about wrestling that was just not right. It was just wrong. It was off the mark. In fact, let me see if I can play it for you right now. I forgot to hook up my other mic. I've been trying to hook that up while I'm playing this bit of audio. But Larry was on with Bill Simmons on his podcast and had something to say about pro wrestling. Let me find the actual clip itself. Hold on one second. Where did I have that? What browser did I have that in? As this is like, guys, it's such a scramble because I'm at work during the day. I don't know if you caught my interview with AJ Brown earlier today, but he did not seem so committed to the Philadelphia Eagles. I'll get into that in a little bit. Then I'm running around all over the place. I just got back from picking up my son at basketball, my daughter from her activity, trying to go to BJ's Wholesale Club and get all the groceries in the house, like scrambling, running, and then coming down here to make this live stream on time before I go play basketball tonight. So apologies, as I wanted to be on time. I didn't want to be late. So I scrambled to get up here. But let me find, here's the clip. And I believe this should play if I put it on here.
Good. Yeah. I'm glad you brought up
Vince McMahon. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You watch wrestling?
Yeah.
What is that?
You're out on wrestling?
Are you? What? What is this with you in wrestling?
This goes back to being a kid.
Yeah, I watched it when I was a kid too. and then I realized it was fixed and I stopped watching.
It's performance.
Oh, so you love the performance?
Yeah, I don't think it's real. It's not like I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe Roman Reigns won again. Yeah. No, it's
but they're all the same, aren't they?
So that was what Larry David had to say about professional wrestling. And here's the thing about those comments. I've heard them before. I think everybody's heard them before. But no one who watches wrestling thinks it's real. I have to do like my Susie Green and be like, Larry, you bald son of a, like, nobody believes it's real. There's no one. I don't know a single, I've never met someone who watches wrestling and thinks it's real. I mean, wrestlers, I know, hate the term fake. They hate it. They loathe the term fake because it's not fake. So in that sense, it's very real. In that sense, it's very real. But Larry, what he's implying there, of course, not implying, what he's saying directly and bluntly there is that it's predetermined. We all know it's predetermined. So That's part of the issue here. That's part of the issue. And I've even explained to my kids. That wrestling itself is not a legitimate competition. That is not a legitimate sporting event, right? Like my kids understand that. There's nobody who's sitting there in the crowd and doing the "this is awesome" chants and doing everything that comes along with professional wrestling who is actually wondering whether or not the outcome is legitimate. Nobody. And I'm sick of smart people saying it. That's the part of this that bothers me. Like Larry David's obviously a genius. Like I just said, guy's a genius. He's a smart guy. Why would he say something like that? I remember Bill Maher said something similar, and Roddy Piper was on his show and said something about it and was upset about it. Because these guys, you got to have respect for the craft and what they're putting their body through, what they're doing to entertain you. So it just when, like Bill Maher, I know some people don't love him anymore and whatever. I still have always been a fan of his show. I think it's a good show. And when he like mocked comic book fans when Stan Lee died, I thought that was a little insulting. Just like the wrestling is fake thing, like I'm above it is insulting. Because I think Simmons even responded on the program talking about Curb Your Enthusiasm back to Larry. It's a TV show. Just because something, people watch soap operas their whole lives. No, nothing about those is real, not real drama. All these things are actual, televised programs. Movies are not real, but people treat them like they're the best thing out there, the best thing going. Make sure you get your comments in. We got Berkey711 who says, "Stay out of that one, haha, lol." I don't know what he's talking about. I think he might be talking about the little tiff I was having with some of the Knicks fans on Twitter, which I'll get to in a second. I just sent the dude Ari from Manhattan an invite. He said, "Oh, damn, you're not kidding. Trying to get this popping now. Oh, he's got the flu." He said he sent it to Lefty, his other buddy. I've seen these guys on Knicks Twitter out there. But make sure you get your comments in. I'll keep reading them throughout the show. Obviously, like I said, I'm talking about right now Larry David and what he said about pro wrestling. And it just like it's annoying when somebody that smart thinks that the audience is that dumb. Berkey says he was talking about Vince McMahon. Yeah, I'm not going. I'm looking forward to the Netflix documentary on Vince. I'm looking forward to that because I try to like figure out a word to use to describe Vince McMahon, and I don't want it to have too much positive connotation. But he is fascinating, and whatever his legacy winds up being, Vince McMahon is the most significant person in the history of professional wrestling. He's the reason WWE became what it did, and seems like not such a great dude, obviously. But the wrestling itself, the thing I always say about pro wrestling is everybody has a connection to it. Everybody does. Whether you're a hardcore wrestling fan and watch all the time, and by the way, make sure you check out the Needle Wrestling podcast that I do with my guys, Gene Cherry and Dave Severson. I didn't have a banner built for that today, or else I'd put it up there. But you whether you're a hardcore fan who's watching all the time and getting wrestling podcasts and checking those out, or you parachute in here and there for the big events, or you haven't watched in 20 years, but you can do a mean Macho Man Randy Savage impression. Everybody's got some sort of connection to professional wrestling. And, when it's at its peak, I think it's the best form of entertainment in the world, to be honest with you. Like when CM Punk came out at Survivor Series, is there anything that gets you more amped than a surprise return in wrestling? Or is there anything that brings out more emotion from people knowing it's predetermined than like what happened at WrestleMania with Roman Reigns beating Cody Rhodes and all the people crying about him not finishing his story? So it's theater. It's sport in a sense. It's athletic. Let's put it that way. It's not a sport because the outcome is predetermined, but it is athletic and it is certainly theater. And it just bothers me when somebody as smart as Larry David, who is a genius, like I'm not mad. I'm not going to say I hate Larry David. You know, I'm not like a little baby, but it just irritates me when someone so smart can say something so dumb because it shows a complete lack of understanding and lack of awareness of what's going on. Again, my kids know that wrestling isn't real. And they're 9, 7, and my 2-year-old, Big Ro, might not know that yet, but it won't be long because I have to explain it to them. You have to explain it to them once so they don't pile drive each other. Right? One of my phrases is always protect head and neck. Protect head and neck. Because, you know, if something happens with your head or your neck, we all know what can happen. And you've seen it in wrestling. Stone Cold Steve Austin broke his damn neck. Big E broke his neck. Kurt Angle has a broken neck. I don't know, maybe that was before, I don't remember if that was before WWE or not, but like you've seen it so many times in the ring. Draws, paralyzed. You know, wrestling ain't for play. It ain't for play, even if it's theatrics. But these guys are such good performers, both physically and getting you invested emotionally. And that's why you see The Rock become such a big Hollywood star. It's why you see John Cena, you know, the biggest stars translate to other genres, to the world that Larry David inhabits. So I never get that condescending view of professional wrestling, like, oh, it's fake. Why are you watching? It's fake. So is the shit you watch. Well, it's for kids. I could make the same argument. Like, what is so like, it's always funny when like Martin Scorsese brings up Marvel movies and how they're like amusement park movies or not real cinema. What makes gangster movies so like mature? Oh, wow, you know, I don't like what you did, so I'm going to shoot you under the table. That's, you know, that's real. I mean, I know some of that's based on things that have happened in reality. But, you know, wrestling has had long-term story. I mean, the Cody Rhodes thing is a long-term storytelling deal. What happened with the Bloodline and Sami Zayn? Long-term storytelling. Kevin Zwicker said, a kid at my complex told me the other day wrestling was fake when I told him I was about to watch the Rumble. And I told him Hogan had 10 back surgeries and you can't fake that. Yeah, I mean, I said, before I did an event for Jim Ross and backstage, I was there with Mick Foley. Tell Mick Foley it's fake. You know, Mick Foley is, you know, one of the best wrestlers of all time, but put his body through hell, through complete hell. So I just don't get it when people say that. Berkey711 says, I don't watch it weekly, but I love WrestleMania. Who doesn't love Jake Paul, who we know is not a real wrestler doing his thing? It's great. Well, I mean, Logan Paul, I think you mean. Logan Paul is pretty damn good. He's kind of a natural at it. He's picked it up so quickly and, you know, has done a real good job in regards to where he's at right now and how he's adapted to the game, to the business, to the industry. I'm sending an invite out real quick to see if I can get one of these Knicks guys on who are getting after me. We've got Mark. I was one of those Knicks fans. This is the tweet I had sent out before. I'm messing around because this guy Lefty, I've seen him out there online and good dude. Seems like a good dude. But he said Kevin Durant is coming back to Brooklyn as a member of the Phoenix Suns, and there was more fanfare about RJ and IQ returning to the Garden. Let me put the tweet on screen here if I can. This is the tweet in question. And then I responded to it more or less saying the Knicks are legit good and fans still can't stop thinking about the Nets. Because I do see a lot of Knicks fans constantly talking about the Nets still. And, if you got to remind people that they're little brother all the time, they can't be so much of little brother. They can't be so much of little brother. Wu says Robin is the biggest Knicks hater. Not true. Not true. I covered it. When I got to ESPN New York, nobody was talking about the Knicks. And I made it a point to push for New York basketball. We rooted for the New York Cavs of Cleveland, trying to get LeBron to come on the show and to come to New York at the time. And I rationalized Isaiah Thomas moves and Eddie Curry's streak of whatever it was, 19-point games or whatever it was. And I was banging the drum for Porzingis, and Linsanity's still the coolest thing I ever covered. But eventually I did get a little worn down by it. And, I'm such a Jay-Z stan that when they made him like the mascot of the Nets, I can't say that didn't appeal to me. And I liked the gear and everything, and I had kids, and I just decided to go all in on that team. And that was that was like the D'Angelo Russell year and everything. I started campaigning for KD to come to the Knicks. And to the Nets. And then he eventually did. He eventually did. And that was a cool period of time. And when you talk about Kevin Durant and his Nets tenure as he's making his return to Barclays, I think the one thing that KD did was legitimize the Nets as a franchise. I think they're taken more seriously. They are discussed now as a more legitimate franchise than they ever were before. And that's in large part due to Kevin Durant. But I do think that period of time where the Nets were so relevant, so hyper relevant in the national sphere, and the Knicks were not, led to some resentment. And now that the Knicks are on top, the Knicks are a legit good team. I got nothing bad to say about it. When I said that bad stuff about the Knicks, it's because they deserved it. They were bad and poorly run for a long time. That's not the case anymore. The Knicks are a well-run team right now. Jalen Brunson is maybe the best signing in franchise history. The other moves, even like the moves like DiVincenzo, good move. And the Nets had to blow it all up because it got so ugly. And now they're relying on Ben Simmons, who can't play more than one game at a time. See if he can be back in Philly. So I'm not saying things are all peachy keen with the Nets right now. But I think that period of time where the Nets were getting all that attention and the Knicks weren't, led to a lot of people, a lot of Knicks fans, getting some pent-up resentment, which they're letting out now. And I'm sorry, but if you keep having to bring up the Nets, it doesn't show that the Knicks run the city. It shows that they're rent-free in your head, the Nets. That's what it shows. Because the Knicks fans should be beating their chests about their team right now. If the Nets were so irrelevant, let them be irrelevant. It's like the Eminem Benzino thing. I got some people getting mad at me I did a little like TikTok / YouTube short, whatever, on Eminem still talking about Benzino, because I listened to the new Eminem song and I didn't understand why Eminem is still talking about Benzino. That was like 20 years ago. When, he crushed him back in the day. And I'm not an Eminem hater. The guy's an absolute legend. He went through a period of time where he kind of sucked. And it felt like he was just doing his best to fit as many syllables into squeeze him in. And his music wasn't very good. What was that album called? God, it was terrible. Revival? Was that what it was called? It was garbage. Marshall Mathers LP was garbage. The second was garbage. And he had a stretch like that. But then he put out that little Kamikaze EP, which felt like he was sort of getting it back a little bit. And I dug the music To Be Murdered By record. I thought that was good. He's had some verses here. So he's at least rebounded a little bit. But there's no need for Eminem to be going at Benzino. You know, even if Benzino's taking shots at him, who cares? You know how many times Dame Dash has said something about Jay-Z? You know, Dame Dash constantly saying something about Jay-Z. And they actually had a relationship. They actually had a relationship. And Jay don't respond to him because he's not relevant. He's not relevant. Papa Left is also sick. The Knicks guys are sick. They're ducking the smoke. I'm just kidding, guys. Hope you guys feel better. It would all be in good fun. I'm sure they'll come on soon. But they're literally like popping off on Twitter and like, you know, anytime, any place. I send them the link. Oh, we're both sick. We can't come in. But that's what it reminds me of. The Knicks fans taking shots at the Nets right now. It's like Eminem going after Benzino. If the Nets are such little brother and so irrelevant, why are you talking about them? And why do you keep bringing up wanting to trade for one of their players? You know, Nets fans got to get over the trading of Mikal Bridges. The guy's a bona fide player. He's like the only surefire bona fide player the Nets have. What kind of draft picks do you think you're getting? You could get 10, you could go 10 drafts in a row, 10 drafts in a row, and not get somebody as good as Mikal Bridges. And like I keep seeing these conversations. He's proven he's not a one or blah, 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 blah. Who cares? Guy's a real player. Whether he's a 1, 2, 3, doesn't matter. He's a core player on a really good team. You know? So I don't know why Nets fans are desperate to trade him. And Knicks fans, of course the Nets aren't trading with the freaking Knicks. It's insanity. The Knicks don't have anything to trade either. They got like random draft picks. They don't have any actual players at the moment. So, yeah. That's what I got to say about that. The Nets are not trading Mikal freaking Bridges. Doesn't make any sense. And there's certainly, if they were to trade Mikal Bridges, they wouldn't be trading him to the Knicks. You know, they wouldn't be trading him to the Knicks. But yeah, it's Ari from Manhattan and Papa Left. I hope you guys who are both sick feel better. I'll have you on a future show. I just texted with Peter Rosenberg before the show. He's going to come on, I think, next week. I'm going to start to bring the guests, integrate the show. Like, as I said, this program is going to evolve. I mean, you guys I'm depending on you right now. It's going to evolve. But I wanted to get it up off the ground last week, so I didn't delay. And then this week, I wanted to add a little bit of production value, a little elements to it. Small things, but nonetheless. And then next week, I want it to look a little bit better than it does this week, and so on and so forth, as we find the identity, as I find the groove. But I'm going to be here with you Monday through Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern, for the time being, as I'm in this current state that I'm in. I mean, if you haven't read the, is it the Intelligence? I don't know. There's an article about the situation I'm in at SI. I recommend you guys check it out. I don't want to go into too much detail because I don't want to risk my current employment or my severance pay if things do go poorly, if they don't get worked out. I'm not rating for some magic rescue ship like other people, but who knows who might be watching this stream and everything like that. But there's an article out there. Let me see if I can find the link for you guys that I recommend you checking out. Here's the tweet I'll share with you real quick, because it's just wild how we're caught up in this situation right now and the circumstances that led to it. So find that account and read that article. It'll give you some insight into what's going on and what the plight that those of us at Sports Illustrated are facing right now. But I am at work, during the day, and I'm here at night. And today I actually talked to AJ Brown of the Philadelphia Eagles. And let me know if the audio sharing is working when I bring it up as well, guys, because I'm sort of figuring this out on the fly. I thought his comments to me were interesting. I talked to AJ Brown and Devontae Smith earlier today, and AJ Brown's been brought up in some trade rumors. I don't even know where they came from, to be honest, but they were out there enough where it was on my radar when I'm talking to the guy that I need to bring them up. So here is, hopefully you guys can hear this. Let me know if you can't. Here's what that sounded like. Your name is out there a lot with people talking about, what might be going on behind the scenes, what the organization's plans may be. What do you make of all that? Is that just noise in your mind?
I've been through this before. I'm a vet at this point, So if something happens, my phone will ring and I'll be waiting. If not, then I'll enjoy my time.
But you're prepared, obviously, to be catching passes for the Philadelphia Eagles next season.
I'm prepared to focus on my family at home and get better in the offseason and just see where this thing go. It's chatter though.
So did you see my if you saw my face there, my face is reacting to him not answering that question. Like, I thought that was a layup. You're prepared to catch passes for the Philadelphia Eagles next season? He could have just said, well, yeah, as long as I'm an Eagle, obviously. I control what I can control, but right now I'm a member of the Philadelphia Eagles. So I thought I tossed him a layup, and the fact that he didn't answer it was a little surprising to me. So I am working by day doing that. Berkey711 says, sounds like he's out. Yeah, I mean, perhaps that's the mood and the tenor. And I'm sure I've seen Philly media run with those comments. I actually lived outside of Philadelphia until I was 12. I lived in Langhorne, Pennsylvania, right next to Sesame Place, if you guys have ever been around those parts. But yeah, I mean, that I was surprised that he didn't just answer that question, that he didn't just looking at the situation and saying, oh yeah, I'm a member of the Eagles until otherwise. I mean, he got traded before, so I get if there was some bitterness, but I thought that was a strange comment to me, or a lack of a comment to me. Another thing is strange. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but apparently Taylor Swift has something to do with the election. I've just found this amusing. I'm out there, like, I know people need stuff to talk about, but is Taylor Swift a Democratic agent? I've never thought of Taylor Swift as having a really sway on anything, but apparently Donald Trump was all pissy with Taylor Swift and thinks, she's going to be endorsing Biden or something. And I don't know. People are so upset about Taylor Swift. And I get it at the beginning of the season. I had too much. And I knew that the media, was going to run it into the ground. As a member of the media, I know how that works. But my goodness, Taylor, she doesn't, I mean, even if she did endorse Biden, look, Joe Biden is old. He's old. I can't say I'm super gung-ho about Joe Biden and the like, but here's the thing about Biden too. All the guy does is win elections. So whatever the noise says, he was with Obama, they won the election. He's running for president, he wins the election. Midterms, they win the elections. Last election cycle, they won the elections. And then on the Trump side of things too, there was a period of time where I was super invested in all that, passionate and whatnot, but I've seen that the world just kind of went to shit, especially COVID time. That was an ugly time where nobody could think with common sense. Nobody could respect each other, and everybody's arguing about vaccines and nonsense. As if you're team vaccine or you're not team vaccine. I just hope everybody's good. I hope everybody's good mentally, physically. I could give you my recommendations, but I'm not going to hate you for the rest of your life if you don't take a vaccine. Also, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like people are just dropping like flies because of that and blame all life's problems on vaccines either. Just felt stupid to me. And there's not much I can do, right? And the fact that Donald Trump got elected in the first place. I mean, I remember when he got elected, I went into ES because I remember before that, I was talking about to the program director at the time, what are we going to do? And then he got elected, and I was doing the show with Mike Golick Jr. in the morning. It was really awkward that day because it felt like you had to kind of address it. But, ESPN was very don't touch politics at the time. So who knows what the hell's going to happen? But I don't think Taylor Swift is going to be the deciding factor in the election. I don't think, Taylor Swift is the swing in all these situations here. Donald Trump likes attention. We know that much. Donald Trump was once into pro wrestling. Or I remember being at MetLife Stadium when Trump showed up at WrestleMania. He was booed out of the building at that time. Trump was booed out of the building at MetLife when he showed up to WrestleMania. That was the Rock and Cena WrestleMania. The Rock and Cena WrestleMania. I was there 2013, I think, to circle back to the top of the show, and it just bums me out again. I could watch Curb Your Enthusiasm at any time. But I just want to emphasize for anybody who's just joining the show right now, there aren't any wrestling fans who think wrestling is real. Nobody. Nobody who goes to the show, nobody who enjoys it, nobody who follows along with it. We all take it, that's part of what taking it so seriously is about. Like, we all take sports seriously, right? We take sports really seriously, even though they don't mean anything. Remember when everybody was talking about the in-season tournament in the NBA and how, like, it's meaningless, blah, blah, blah. So was the NBA championship at one point. All these trophies, they're just trophies. It's the meaning we attach to them. It's the meaning we attach to them. So we give the wrestling our passion, but there's nobody who's sitting there thinking what they're watching is a legitimate competition. And so it bugs me when people like Larry David, who I will say is a genius, have such a stupid point of view. Because it's condescending. A lot of people like wrestling. A lot of people like comic books. I know their cartoons. I know their drawings. I know their stories. But so are even if they're based on Larry David reality, so are the scenarios in Curb Your Enthusiasm. They're made up. They might be based on reality. Some of the stuff that happens in wrestling is based on reality. The stuff that blurs the lines is oftentimes the stuff that people like the most. Ernesto says, sorry, I'm late. I was at a coach's clinic to coach my son's baseball league. I'm sorry. What did I miss? Well, you can always, guys, when this is done, you can catch the replay. I can't, expect all you guys to be here, every single night. I love the fact that so many of you are, and that's why I'm going to be here for you and be consistent with this Monday through Thursday, 8 p.m. But I got to coach kids too. In fact, I skipped coaching a practice yesterday to do this because I didn't want to bail in the first week or the second week, technically. But, such is life. I'm going to play basketball as soon as I shut this stream down. That really helps my mind. But yeah, that's how you curb I think you got the same thing that I had as a banner there, Ernesto. It's just a shame. It hurt my heart a little bit. That just because Larry's such a smart guy. Such a smart guy. Yeah, bummer that he would say that. I mean, because wrestling fans are great, just like sports fans are great, just like, the only thing I talked about that's actually serious is Donald Trump, Joe Biden. But even that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like I used to be like super, like I was protesting and doing all that stuff, vote or die. But I don't know if it matters anymore. The world, what's gonna change? Oh man, Trump's good for TV. That's why they talk about him so much. Ricky Burgos says, "How do you feel about the Nets sitting Simmons?" Look, it's frustrating. It's frustrating because Ben looks so good in that last game. But the thing about Ben is you can't rely on him to be on the floor. And of course, as soon as I saw him get injured in that game, it's like, oh no, here we go again. Oh no. And then they said he was probable. So I was like, oh, good, he's going to play. And then all of a sudden it's downgraded to questionable. And then he's out. He's out. Now his agent's up on Twitter. I don't know if you guys have seen this. His agent is saying he should be playing this weekend. I think their next game is in Philadelphia. So I think the next game is in Philadelphia, and that would be amazing if he is there for that game because the Nets are a better team with Ben Simmons. The problem with Simmons isn't that he hasn't played well when he's been on the floor. This is Ben Simmons' agent. This is being done as he has a small irritated spot. The thought is by being cautious here with 3 days until the next game, this can be put to rest and he can continue to work to get his way back to 10 out of 10 game shape. So hopefully he's back. Hopefully he's back. But yeah, I mean, you can't count on Ben Simmons. I mean, it just is what it is. Trump, LOL. I mean, there's nothing funny about Trump and everything funny about Trump at the same time. Like the fact that this man is even allowed to run for his mutant power is to never be held accountable for anything, right? It's just like he's got 27 felony, I mean, whatever it is, all these things out there, try to overthrow the government, all that. It's just like whatever. And here's the thing, Trump, he don't got the juice like he used to have the juice. Now, I want to reach across the aisles nowadays, and I don't want to be like anybody who ever supported Trump or whatever, I hate you or whatnot, because like I said, I think COVID was very enlightening for me because I saw a lot of people who would typically be on my side of the aisle acting like lunatics as well. I think a lot of people have acted like lunatics, and I try not to act like a lunatic. I use my own brain. I have my own independent thought. I bring my own independent, a perspective to things. Like COVID, right? COVID was supposed to be the shutdown for 2 weeks to stop the spread. And then that continued indefinitely. And then the vaccine's supposed to stop everybody. What really stopped COVID is that everybody got COVID. I mean, it sucks. My wife lost her grandmother to COVID. I mean, people have lost. It's a tragedy. It sucks. There's no one would minimize that. I don't want anybody to catch it. I think we should take proper precautions. I believe in science. I believe in medicine and all these things. But people were acting like complete lunatics when logic told you that it was spreading. And it was spreading, and that helped to, get us to a point where it became like another illness. Because you used to be back in the day, you were sick, right? You got sick. You can go run and get tested to figure out what you were sick with. You stayed home because you were sick. And maybe that's one of the lessons we learned. Don't go around coughing, and stay home. Don't get other people sick. Don't get kids and old people sick. And it's terrible that it happened. But some people lost their minds in one direction. Just like other people on this other side have lost their minds. So, I don't know, man. I hope everybody's good. I really do. I send out these good vibes, messages every now and again because I really hope it's tough. Look, I'm going through a tough situation right now. But, you live, you learn, you persevere. And I try to, connect with you guys and I try to give you my honest thoughts and opinions on stuff. So any questions you have before today's show wraps, let me know. Wu says, well, you can read the first sentence, better when it comes to hip hop. What's your hip hop question today, Wu? I think you set off the Wu-Tang Clan question earlier. I talked about Eminem and Benzino today. I got a little hip hop in. I'll lead the show because I have noticed on my YouTube shorts and stuff, the hip hop stuff does pop. The hip hop does pop. Pop. Well, I know a lot about that. That's the thing is I feel like in today's day and age, you need like a niche. And my problem is I have several that I feel like I'm really good at. Obviously I've been known as a basketball and a hoops head and an NBA guy. Now I've been carving out this lane in wrestling. There's the Marvel superhero stuff. And then there's the rap and hip hop stuff. And, I'm going to speak my mind on politics and stuff that's going on in the world too. Not afraid to talk about anything. I trust my ability to articulate myself. I trust my ability to speak in that regard on anything. But as I'm evolving this channel, you guys let me know what you like hearing me talk about the most. That'll help me take the right direction. That'll help me, garner the most views. That'll help me build out the biggest following. Because I think people who know me know what I'm about, and you can see it all behind me, right? It's going to be basketball, wrestling, superheroes, rap. But if there's anything specifically that you think resonates the most with you, let me know. You an MF Doom fan, Robin. R.I.P. I was, I appreciate the inventiveness. His delivery style was never my favorite as like a rapper specifically. But I always feel bad if somebody's dead to like, you know, he was I wouldn't consider myself a huge MF Doom fan, if that makes sense. But I didn't want to, I don't want to slander the guy either. He obviously left a big mark and had a lot of fans and again took the risk of having his own lane too. Ernesto says, yeah, I didn't need Eminem to go at Benzino. It looks whack. He's Eminem. What's next? He's going to go back after NSYNC? And Fred Durst? Where's Fred Durst at? Chris Kirkpatrick, you can get your ass kicked. Where's that little Limp Bizkit bastard? And Moby? Or is he going to go after Moby? What's Moby doing? You know that Moby song? I think it's called Flower. It's like, bring Sally up, bring Sally down. I do planks to that song, like up and down. And it's tough. It's tough getting through those. All right, guys. I want to make sure I hit my basketball game on time tonight. I think we have exactly enough players to play, so I don't want them waiting for me. But appreciate y'all. Again, I'll be back tomorrow night, Monday through Thursday, Robin Lundberg Show, 8 p.m., YouTube. It starts at, like, as many of you, if you could please, even if you're on the live on Facebook or Twitter right now, if you could go to YouTube and give it a subscribe and a like and a follow. I'd appreciate that. And views over there too. Wherever you can, of course, support. Joshua Raymond said, best of luck with this new venture. I really appreciate that. I appreciate the kind words. Like, again, I appreciate the amount of people that have reached out to me and reconnected with me, both personally and, fans who I hadn't heard from in a long time. It let me know that I made the right decision just going. And really just going like this is kind of my resume, right? It's kind of my way to build my brand and to put myself out there. And I also look, it took balls to do what I did too. I ain't going to front. I'm not going to pretend. I'm not going to say something other than what it was. Because I could have been sitting here crying in my bed. I could have been moping around. I could have been waiting for the magic rescue ship. I still could be. But that doesn't help anybody. It doesn't help me. This is like therapy. I mean, I don't have a therapist. I used to have a therapist. Maybe I need a therapist again. I'll talk about mental health struggles and issues on here. I keep teasing I'm going to talk about alcohol because I definitely had an issue with alcohol that I don't anymore. Cause I don't drink anymore. So therefore, I don't have an issue with alcohol. But maybe I'll talk about that tomorrow since I'm teasing it here right now. I'm going to be completely open and honest and raw. I hope that connects with you guys. But yeah, I put myself, I don't think anybody else from SI immediately was hopping on something else and being like, here I am, but that's all I've ever known how to do. So I'm going to keep doing it. And I know by doing that, by being my authentic self, by, presenting myself to you guys, connecting with you, it's only going to lead to bigger and better things. And yeah, I do got a resume. ESPN, SiriusXM, CBS Sports Radio, WFAN, Sports Illustrated. Come on. So I appreciate the love, the comments. Like I said, if you can, even after the stream ends, go check it out on YouTube. Like, subscribe, tell your friends, share. If you could share, that'd be amazing. Announce it out there, retweet, quote tweet, share on Facebook, send the link on YouTube, all that stuff. And I'll be back tomorrow. Same Robin time, same Robin channel.